Proverbs 12:25 says, "Anxiety in a man's heart weighs him down, but a good word makes him glad." Do you ever have that feeling where your mind just won't shut up? Like, no matter what you do, there's this constant background noise of worry, doubt, or that nagging feeling that something's missing. That first part of this beautiful proverb, anxiety weighs you down. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like carrying a backpack full of bricks that no one else can see. And the second part, but a good word makes you glad. That made me stop and think. What does that actually mean? What kind of word can lift the weight? And why does it feel like some people handle stress, waiting, and uncertainty so much better than others? It turns out there's a real answer to that. One that's been understood for thousands of years by some of the wisest minds in history, both in the Bible and in the ancient Greece by the Stoic masters. It has nothing to do with avoiding problems or pretending everything's fine. And it's definitely not about trying to control things that are out of your hands. It's about shifting how you see things. And when you do that, when you really get it, something changes. The weight gets lighter. So, if you've been feeling stuck, if anxiety has been sitting on your chest, making everything feel 10 times harder, stick with me, because I think this might help. When we look at Proverbs 12:25, we see a profound truth. Anxiety in a man's heart weighs him down, but a good word makes him glad. This short but powerful phrase speaks directly to the heart of what so many of us feel every day: anxiety. We know what it's like to feel that invisible weight on our shoulders, the kind of pressure that affects not just our minds, but our bodies too. Whether it's worry about the future, stress from responsibilities, or fear of failure, anxiety always finds a way of consuming us. But then, Proverbs offers a different approach: the good word. What does that mean? A good word could be a piece of truth, a word of encouragement, or simply wisdom that helps us shift our perspective. Words can lift us up, change our outlook, and lighten the load of anxiety. It's like when someone speaks into our lives and says something that changes our view, something that makes us feel less burdened, less alone, or more hopeful. Interestingly, the Stoic philosophers who lived centuries ago shared a very similar view on anxiety. Epictetus, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." This is a remarkable insight because it highlights something we all experience. Anxiety doesn't come from external events. It comes from how we choose to interpret those events. The traffic jam, the unexpected bill, or the tough conversation. All of these things are out of our control, but our response to them, that is something we can control. Epictetus is reminding us that it's not the event itself that causes us to suffer, but how we perceive and react to it. This insight speaks directly to the heart of what the Proverbs verse teaches us. Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, shared a very similar idea in his writings. He said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Marcus, who ruled during times of great turmoil, understood that we can't control the chaos of the world around us, but we can control our reactions to it. His wisdom is so much like that of the Bible. It's about recognizing that peace doesn't come from manipulating circumstances, but from the control we have over our thoughts and hearts. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. The Stoics, while they didn't follow Christianity, lived in a world that acknowledged strongly a divine order. Many of them referred to the divine, or nature, as a guiding force of the universe. They believed there was an intelligence or wisdom behind the natural world, even though they didn't define it in the same terms as we would today. What if this divine influence was guiding them to these profound insights, not as mere philosophy, but as part of a larger, divinely inspired understanding? The Stoics may not have recognized the full depth of God's plan, but their writings are strikingly aligned with the wisdom we find in the Bible. Just as the Bible teaches us to trust in God's plan, accept what we cannot control, and find peace and surrender, the Stoics teach something similar. Peace and wisdom come from aligning our thoughts and actions with nature, and accepting what we cannot change. It's almost as if their ideas were being shaped by divine guidance that points toward the eternal truths of God's kingdom, even if they didn't explicitly acknowledge it. This is a beautiful reminder that God's wisdom can show up in many forms. The Stoics may not have had the full picture, but it's clear their reflections on anxiety, peace, and life's challenges resonate deeply with the biblical truths that we hold dear. It's a testimony that God's influence is present even in places where we might not expect it. For both the Bible and Stoicism, anxiety stems from our desire to control things outside of us. The Bible encourages us to trust in God and surrender our anxieties to Him. The Stoics, in their own way, encourage us to let go of control over external events and focus on cultivating inner peace through wisdom and virtue. Both teachings agree. True peace comes from surrendering our need to control the uncontrollable and instead focusing on our response to the world around us. When we let go of trying to control everything, we start to experience peace, and therefore, we start to feel that God is closer in our lives. This peace might come from feeling His presence or from accepting the natural order of things, but the result is the same. The weight of anxiety begins to lift. So, the next time you find yourself weighed down by anxiety, remember this. Both the Bible and the Stoics teach us that peace doesn't come from controlling the world around us. It comes from how we choose to respond to it. And when we shift our perspective, focusing on what we can control, our hearts, our thoughts, and our trust in God, we begin to experience a freedom from anxiety that can carry us through even the toughest of times. When we're dealing with anxiety, it's crucial to have practical steps to break free from its hold. Both the Bible and Stoic philosophy offer timeless wisdom to help us shift from fear to peace. From a biblical standpoint, the solution to anxiety is rooted in faith. In Philippians 4:6-7, we're told, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." The key here is shifting our focus from the chaos of worry to the steady calm of trust. When we stop trying to control everything and instead place our concerns in God's hands, His peace guards our hearts and minds in a way that defies logic. It's an invitation to surrender, not because we lack responsibility, but because we recognize the depth of His control and His love for us. When we trust in God's ability to handle what we cannot, anxiety loses its grip. On the Stoic side, we find a similar approach in the concept of amor fati, which translates to love of fate. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, taught that life's events, both good and bad, are part of the greater tapestry of existence, and our task is to embrace them, not fight them. Marcus wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." The Stoics didn't deny the challenges of life. Instead, they accepted them as part of the flow of nature. By choosing to respond with calm and grace, regardless of the circumstances, they found peace. This idea of accepting life's inevitable ups and downs, rather than resisting them, offers a powerful antidote to anxiety. While we can't control what happens around us, we can control our mindset and our reactions. Both teachings ultimately point to the same core truth. Anxiety is often a result of trying to control the uncontrollable. Whether it's through trusting God's wisdom in the Bible or embracing the flow of life with Stoic principles, peace is found not in resistance, but in acceptance and perspective. The Bible calls us to cast our anxieties on God, while the Stoics remind us to let go of the need to control everything and trust in the wisdom of life itself. So, what are you feeding your mind today? Are you holding on to the weight of your worries? Or are you choosing to trust that God has a plan for your life? Are you resisting the flow of life? Or are you learning to accept its natural course and find peace within? Both the Bible and Stoicism ask us to shift our perspective, to focus on what we can control, our responses, our mindset, and our trust in God or the natural order of things. I'd love to hear from you. How do you deal with moments of anxiety? What tools or practices have helped you find peace in the middle of worry? Drop a comment below and share your experiences. I'm sure it will encourage others who are walking through similar challenges. And if this video spoke to you, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay connected with the awakened self. Together, let's continue to grow, find peace, and navigate this journey with wisdom. Thank you for watching.